Mid-season chaos has officially arrived in the UFL. The last undefeated team, gone. A new powerhouse, rising fast. And the points, absolute explosion across the board. Week 5 delivered drama, upsets, and statement performances, and we're breaking it all down. From the biggest highlights and game-changing moments to the headlines shaking up the league. Plus, our bold predictions for Week 6. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Let's get to it. So into the key highlights of each game, and first up on Friday night was the red-hot DC Defenders versus the struggling Birmingham Stallions. Next, on Saturday night, the St. Louis Battlehawks travelled to take on the unbeaten Orlando Storm and former head coach Anthony Becht. Then on Sunday, we had a double header. First up was the Columbus Aviators versus the Houston Gamblers. Finally, to round off Week 5 on Sunday was the Louisville Kings versus the Dallas Renegades. So here are my 3 key takeaways from week 5. Number 1, the DC Defenders are on a roll right now. The defending champions are on a 4-game win streak, and Ta'amu is playing at a mistake-free high level, and their defence has found its groove. If they beat the Renegades in week 6, they'll be 1 foot into the playoffs already. And who would bet against the championship repeat right now? And number 2, have the Renegades got an Austin Reed problem? Deemed to be an early candidate for the MVP of the season, and after playing lights out for the first 3 weeks, has had major struggles the last 6 quarters of football. He threw 4 interceptions versus the Kings, including 2 pick sixes. The team traded away the Spring King in veteran Luis Perez last week. Can Reed bounce back against the dominating Defenders' defence? We will certainly see what he's made of and whether the Renegades will have trader's remorse. At number 3, Houston, we have an attendance problem. It was claimed that just over 5,000 were in attendance for their game versus the Aviators, but from what we could see on TV, it looked like 1,000 at best. There's a real issue in Dallas and Houston right now, and they look like relocation candidates for next season. Discussions have already started about the 10th team for the 2028 UFL season, and also planned for 12 teams by 2030. The hype and investor fans are real, but the league has to build on this momentum by getting people into the stadiums to watch the games. When you're charging $10 a ticket and offering food and drink with it and still not getting close to half filling the stadium, then you've got a real problem. So let's take a look at the standings after week 5, the midpoint of the regular season. No unbeaten teams remain after Storm's loss to the Battlehawks, and they've now been leapfrogged by the Defenders, who are riding a 4-game win streak. The Renegades and Battlehawks sit at 3-2 and take up the final playoff spots. The Kings are a team to watch after back-to-back wins has them at 2-3. They face the Battlehawks in week 6. The Gamblers have a chance to get to 500 if they beat the Aviators again this week, while Columbus and Birmingham are in desperation mode and realistically need to win out from here to make the playoffs. So on to our week 6 score predictions. After a topsy-turvy week, we went 1-3 in week 5 to give an overall record this season of 12-8. Let us know how you did in week 5. Special shout out if you went 4-0. First up, on Thursday night, it's the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the Louisville Kings. And what a great matchup this looks like right now. A veteran spring team versus a new expansion team that has won 2 straight and could count themselves unfortunate that it isn't 3. This is a must-win game for the Kings if they are real playoff aspirations this season. A win ties them up with the Battlehawks and potentially the Renegades, should they also lose in week 6. However, a loss puts them at 2-4 and essentially 3 games behind St. Louis, with just 4 games to play. A very tough one to call, and I'm going with the team with the momentum in a 1-score game. The Kings win 24-22. Next on Friday night is the Houston Gamblers versus the Columbus Aviators in a rematch of week 5. Not the highest scoring or most entertaining game of week 5, but it kept you guessing which way it would go in the end. There were mistakes by both teams, and despite the Gamblers having a couple of heavy losses this season, if they were to beat the Aviators again, they would find themselves at 3-3 and right in the playoff mix. Columbus knows they have to win to keep any hopes of playoff football alive. It's hard to go back-to-back, and I believe the Aviators will be especially fired up for this one at home. Columbus wins 23-18. On Saturday afternoon, it's the game of the week as the Dallas Renegades take on the DC Defenders. The Renegades started the season on fire, especially through their play on offence and quarterback Austin Reed. However, it's cooled significantly over the last game and a half, and the team faces serious adversity coming off back-to-back losses and now facing the defending champions, who they themselves are currently riding a 4-game win streak. Will it be Dallas who bounces back and makes a statement, or will DC solidify their stronghold on springtime football? I'm rolling with the Defenders by a score of 32-22 to heap more pressure on Reed and the Renegades. And to round off the week on late Sunday afternoon is the Birmingham Stallions versus the Orlando Storm. Maybe one of the biggest shocks of the season in 2026 is the demise of serial contenders, the Birmingham Stallions. They've had huge struggles on offence, and although DTR came in via trade and built some momentum, they were up against the league's best in the defenders last time out. The Storm suffered their first defeat of the season in Week 5 versus the Battlehawks and will want to bounce back. They've got a tough schedule to end the season with back-to-back games versus DC, so will want to pocket the wins while they can. I believe they get back to winning ways by a score of 27-20, which all but eliminates the Stallions from playoff contention. So there's my predictions. Make sure that you drop your Week 6 predictions down in the comments. We reply to every single one. And we'll be live for the Renegades versus the Defenders on Saturday. So make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe, and join us on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. And make sure you're with us for that live stream. All football fans are welcome. And if you're new to the UFL, make sure you check out this video next, which explains everything that you need to know about the UFL 2026. And we'll see you in Saturday's live stream.